Welcome to another episode of Global Compass Talk. My name is Dave. I'll be your host for today. And joining me today is Mr. Tomi. Tomi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself today?
Oh yeah, thank you for having me, David. I'm Tomi, as you said, and I'm a recent physics graduate student from Emory University, and I focus majorly during my research program on finding what machine learning methods can teach us about physics, super cool liquids, data structures that are complex when they have complex spatial and temporal structure in them.
That's awesome. You seem to have a lot of degrees. So getting a PhD in this market is a great thing to have. It shows that you take your career very seriously, and that's always a plus. Today's topic is the ever-changing job market, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. 2022 versus now was a very different world, I think.
Right.
I think 2022 was more like applicants market where people had an easy time getting a job, it seemed like. But now, in the span of 3 years, it seems
Yeah,
like it flipped.
it's a
So,
huge
what do you think
change.
happened?
Yeah, it's like, and it's, you couldn't predict it. It's just like some things were just unpredictable, especially in terms of like the timeline in which you see this huge change happen. Now it seems like it's gonna be man versus bot very soon. Yeah, looking pretty.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for a typical applicant when applying for a job?
There are actually many challenges I could think of, but one surprising thing to me was so I was looking on LinkedIn about 3 days ago, 4 days ago, and how you like make the settings on LinkedIn for job search. Okay, I want to find jobs in like the next 24 that have been posted for within the next 24 hours, and then you can also like tweak the time to say okay within the next like 1 hour or something. And a job had been posted for like barely 2 hours, and it had about 50 applicants.
Wow.
Like in an hour after, it had about over 100 people clicked apply for that
Yeah.
job role. And I'm like, is this how, is it how humans are actually really needing jobs? Is the supply, demand for jobs that high? Or is there something else behind this where like maybe people are just automating applications and then, so it's just basically man versus bot. So to my own view, that's a major challenge for me. But I'm pretty sure there are various challenges at the moment.
One thing I want to talk about is the use of AI.
Mm.
Now, a lot of hiring managers and HR managers have told me that they are using AI. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that's helping companies, helping applicants, making it harder for applicants?
I think that's a good question. I think AI has its place. I think, just like anything on earth, we both can use things positively and negatively. It's a tool that is here to stay. Applicants use AI, job providers also use AI. I think at the moment it has its pros and it has its cons. I'll just say that basically to answer your question. Yeah.
And it seems like if everyone is using ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever version of AI they're using, where everyone's going to sound similar because they're using the same
Exactly.
script.
You lose your voice, you lose your uniqueness, and everyone just basically you have that what's the word uniformity across applicants, and it's just gonna be difficult to find who is unique and stuff like that. That is true.
I guess the big challenge though is that companies want you to sound professional. They want your resume to be as polished as it can be. And so everyone's going to feel pressure to use AI in order to sound
Right.
as professional as can be.
Right.
Especially, let's say, for example, someone whose first language is not English. They're intelligent and they have the experience. And so they might have a mistake or two on their resume. And sometimes they get rejected for that small little issue, which is just maybe a typo. But that's the reality we're in, where they expect perfect. And so the only way to achieve perfection is to use an AI in that sense.
Now, I'm glad you actually mentioned this because I did use AI in my own resume too. And what I basically did was I had my raw resume that I drafted myself with my own voice, but like, not being sure if I made a grammatical error here or there. So I just told the AI, okay, correct for grammatical errors and stuff like that. And there's also this challenge of keywords in applications and job providers needing to see your resume having such keywords, especially when they're going to pass the resume through the ATS system. And then, okay, there's this challenge of like, does my current resume satisfy the necessary keywords? And also, what's the keyword to even put in the resume in the first place? Lots of challenges like that. So yeah, I see many people just tell AI, you know what, just draft a resume that suits this job posting. And that to me is like, not too ideal because it just makes it doesn't stand you don't stand unique, you don't stand out basically, because it's just the AI doing things for you, and it's difficult
Correct.
to tell who is truly who is machine basically.
I'm glad you brought up ATS because ATS is a mystery to a lot of people who are
Right.
applying. Like you said, you don't know what kind of algorithm the company used, and so you're left in the dark of, did I put that keyword too many times? Did I not put that keyword enough? So, for example, if you're applying for chemical engineering, did I put the word chemical analysis or whatever? Did I put that way too often? Is it almost exploiting the ATS? Or sometimes you're unsure because, like you said, you don't know what companies are. The job description will say one thing, but then the ATS might be inputted a little bit differently. And so that might start rejecting applicants because they don't have on their header
Right.
uh, chemical engineer, PE, or something like that, because the
Right.
word PE was missing, professional engineer. And so there are a lot of things. What I've seen a lot of people have started complaining about the whole process itself. I remember even as far back as maybe 10 years ago when I applied for jobs, and it would ask me to upload my resume on their server. And at the same time, after I'm done, it would ask me to fill out all that information all over again manually. And I
Right.
remember
I
that
find that
drove me
frustrating.
that drove me nuts. It's like, why did you ask me to upload the resume? Doesn't your system just automatically start parsing everything in
Right.
there? And then I'm there. I'm like, yes, upload resume, and like, please input your whole history, including where you went to school. So that's another 15 minutes because you're looking at your resume and you're manually typing it in back and forth.
That's
And I
correct.
find that the weird thing is that was 10 years ago. I still see that
I was gonna say
in
that,
modern.
like you said, 10 years ago, I still experience it at this current age. So it's like
Yeah.
nothing has really changed in terms of like trying to use technology to make job application easy, and also make the job of job process easy. Because we see job applicants using technology. What am I even saying? Basically, we basically there's not been optimization. This technology has not been optimized basically for both ends
Mhm.
of the market.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting more difficult, I think. I've read a lot on a couple of job sites saying that right now uh, the job process, the application process is almost broken
Mm.
because you're unsure whether your application is even being seen. And it seems like, that was that joke about 20 years ago where HR people had a shredder right next to their chair. So as soon as they see something wrong, they'll just put it into the
Leave it
shredder.
there. Right.
And right now, I think ATS systems are just deleting applications if they don't meet the certain requirements. So it's like auto delete, auto trash can at that point.
Mm.
And so I think there has to be some kind of major shift because right now it seems like people are in the mode of how many jobs do I have to apply to find that one company that's not using AI or that's not using an ATS that's set up incorrectly, that actually has the human element. And that's kind of what I wanted to kind of close out with. In my opinion, it feels like the human element is slowly being removed from the job process. I
Definitely.
think I think the only time you actually get a person is if you actually get a call back. But from my perspective, it seems like maybe there's no human or very limited human interaction with the actual resume portion of it, where it seems like maybe AI is looking at the resume first or the ATS is looking at the resume first. And then if you're lucky, someone will actually get a hold of that resume and then begin the process of reaching out to you. And then, of course, I think most often than not, everyone's getting the same rejection email.
Right.
Thank you for taking the time out to apply. Unfortunately, your skills don't align with what we're looking for, but good luck. Keep on applying.
Correct. Now, just to chime in, I think the point you just dropped also explains why more people are using AI, because like, you're going through the first layer of filtering it's just technology, and you want to get a call back, get like an opportunity to be like even interviewed. What you first do to bypass that first layer is to also use technology basically. So like, okay, I think that explains a lot about the current trend, and it's just I sat down to think about like what possible solution can we have for this, and it's difficult to come across one because I know we want to put a human element, and it'd be very good to even put this human element in the first layer. But these humans, they have finite amount of time and attention span and things like that. So there's finite amount of resume they can go through with full focus and full um, attention. And so it's difficult to for one recruiter to go through like 500 resumes in 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever the rate may be. So it's difficult. I know it's a difficult challenge, and it'll be very good to have like the human element still in there, especially in the very first layers.
No, I agree with you. It probably is overwhelming for one, HR person or talent acquisition person to receive 500 applications for one job.
Yeah,
Let's say that same person also has four more jobs to fill. So that's what, 2,000
right.
applications to look at. And so I can imagine, it is quite a challenge right now. Lastly, I wanted to close out with one final question. What is, you think, the biggest challenge for the average applicant when applying for a job?
Right. It's a good question. I think it will be, in my point of view, just personal branding. I think has been underestimated a lot. People talk about your skills, your experience, your education. You have that, but when you sell products, the packaging is also important. There's one
Mhm.
reason why Steve Jobs focused on like design and simplicity and the likes, because the packaging has to be refined and clear and stuff like that. And during the process of getting skills and experiences, there will be like lots of um, edges that need to be like chopped off and stuff like that. So like refining all those experience and skills that you've gotten into like a very clean package that shows that this man or this person or this woman or whatever knows what they are doing, knows where they are going and headed. I think is a tough challenge, especially for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think personal branding is
Right.
very important to create your identity and to make sure that you stand
You
out
stand
in
out,
the
right? Exactly.
Well, thank you for your time, Tommy. I loved
Absolutely.
hearing all your responses, and hopefully in the future we can sit down and have another follow up regarding
Definitely.
the job market.
No.
But Tommy, thank you very much. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you for your time, David. Do take care.